Welcome to this episode of our program Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important topic. Tonight we'll be shedding light on the outcome, or so far, because tomorrow would be the end of the first Global Congress on Population, Health and Development, which has been going on or ongoing since the 5th of September and will end at the 8th of September. At the new administrative capital, the conference represented a unique opportunity for researchers, policymakers worldwide to get first-hand information on the dynamic relationship between population, health and development. This is actually the slogan of this Congress, which has been the focus or the focal center of this Congress. The conference witnessed the participation of decision makers, ministers of health and population from different countries, ambassadors of countries, international partners and agencies, the UN, the USAID, banking, entitled entrepreneurs, the media and representatives of the civil society, intellectuals and sponsors of the success partners. On Tuesday, Egypt has launched its national strategy for population and development for 2023 till 2030. So how has Egypt so far dealt with the growth in population challenge? Because it is an enormous challenge. How has it carried out with its plans for services, particularly the health sector, and how it had carried out with its development plans in light of such challenges? This is what we will be focusing on in our tonight show. Before we delve into our discussion, let me first take the top story of the day. And President Abdel al-Sisi held a meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Chairman of the General Authority for the Suez Canal Economic Zone, Walid Sami Gamaluddin, Lieutenant General Ahmed Al-Shazli, Chairman of the Armed Forces Financial Affairs Authority, and Major General Ahmed Al-Azazi, Chairman of the Armed Forces Engineering Authority. Presidential spokesman Councillor Ahmed Fahmy said that the meeting dealt with a review of investment activity in the Suez Canal Economic Zone. He added that the President was briefed on the executive position of investment projects and efforts to enhance the various industrial zones that are being established and operated in the region in cooperation with major international companies, as well as various targeted industrial sectors, including the pharmaceutical sectors, automobile industry, supplies and electrical and engineering industries, in addition to efforts to localize new and renewable energy projects and green fuels. This in light of the success of the process of fueling a container ship with green methanol in East Port Saeed port for the first time in Egypt, Africa and the Middle East, within the framework of deepening and benefit of Egyptian ports and transforming them into a regional center for fueling ships with traditional or green fuel, and localizing the green fuel industry and its feeding and complementary industries. President Sisi directed to continue working to attract foreign investments to the Suez Canal Economic Zone, especially those aimed at acquiring modern technology, possessing industrial capacity and providing job opportunities in a way that maximize the added value of Egyptian seaports on the Red Sea and Mediterranean seas, within the framework of the state's plans to enhance Egypt's position as a regional industrial, commercial and logistics center in a way that supports its efforts to achieve comprehensive developments. Moving on with our topic tonight, and let me first welcome our guest professor, Dr. Saeed, Mohamed Abdel Hady, Dean of the Mansoura University. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me this afternoon.
And thank you so much for coming right after you've been there at the Congress.
Yeah, indeed, I just came from the administrative capital and I participated in this summit, and it is a good opportunity to be with you tonight.
My pleasure, our pleasure. Before we delve into our discussion, let's first have this quick report. And overpopulation, Egypt's biggest obstacle for economic prosperity. President Sisi, let's watch.
President Abdel al-Sisi said that having children in Egypt is not an absolute freedom, stressing that it must be regulated to avoid causing a disaster in the country. The president made the remarks on Tuesday during the first Global Congress on Population, Health and Development, PHDC 2023, which Egypt is hosting in the new administrative capital from the 5th till the 8th of September. In his speech, El-Sisi said that while having children is a freedom, if this freedom is not regulated, it can cause a disaster to the country. President El-Sisi said that Egypt needs to keep annual population growth at 400,000 over the next 20 years in order to keep providing services that have been in place for 7 decades. He also said the state has paid around 10 trillion Egyptian pounds to develop infrastructure over the past decade amid population challenges. The president pointed to China as an example of a country that has succeeded in controlling population growth through its one-child policy between 1979 and 2015. El-Sisi said overpopulation was one of the major challenges that caused people to protest in 2011, as the state was not able to provide them with their basic needs of services, health, education and employment. The president also blamed population growth for causing citizens to be dissatisfied with their pay over decades. He warned about the harm that would be felt if the events of 2011 were repeated. Such events would cause the state, which is already in dire need of foreign currency, to lose hundreds of billions of dollars. The head of state said that change in Egypt will be achieved when citizens, government and leadership working together with understanding and awareness. He added that such change can never be made by starting another revolution. The president, however, highlighted the resilience of the Egyptian state in the face of consecutive crises, including COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war. The president highlighted the role of the state, media, religious leaders, intellectuals and civil society groups in facing overpopulation. Egypt is hosting the PHDC 2023 under the theme Healthy Population for Sustainable Development to discuss the population issue and its impact on sustainable development. Ministers, politicians, representatives of civil society organizations, NGOs, the private sector, investors, entrepreneurs, researchers and influencers are participating in the conference. The conference seeks to highlight the relation between population, health and sustainable development, formulating a roadmap on adaptation to face global challenges.
Right, welcome back, and let me again welcome our guest, our distinguished guest, Professor Dr. Saeed Mohamed Abdel Hady, Dean of the Mansoura University. Thank you again for being with us.
Pleasure.
And let me start with a reading to the President's particular stress on the growth population, a hinder to any kind of progress or success.
Absolutely, yeah. This Congress is the first of its kind, but may I remind that we 3 months ago has had the second summit of African Health and Exhibition. So this is the second mega meeting for health this year. And also Egypt held the World Summit on Population in 1994. But this particular title of putting together the 3 domains of population, health, and development, and as exactly you addressed, they are very interrelated 3 domains. I mean, population will affect health and subsequently will affect development. to improve the development, to achieve sustainable development, you will need to control the population and to raise the standard of life. So it's all a continuous circle of interrelated things.
It's a vicious circle.
It is.
But,
yeah,
but let me, but here, before I go into this vicious circle, because we have to really focus on the challenge and the means to confront such a challenge.
Yeah.
If I read the President's quote, when he spoke about population and having children,
yeah.
when he spoke about it's a freedom that has to be regulated.
Yeah.
How did you read that? What does this mean? What kind of rate could be appropriate for the case of any country?
Absolutely. Let's speak about the global view. Countries are divided into three categories. First category is the poor countries, or the people living in a more or less poor situations, and these used to have a very high birth rate and a very high death rate. But the net gain is no much increase in the population. Egypt was in this group till 1950 something, you know. And then after 1952, we started our population summit, or sorry, population control group in 1965. We first have the population council, some kind of this. At that time, health improved and the mortality declined significantly. But the birth rate continued to increase, and this makes the difference. Compared with the developed nations, they reached to the stability where you exactly increase in the number equal to or much less than the death rate. So you go in a stable population or a declining population. Coming back to Egypt in the 1960s, we compare Egypt, started in the same era, 1965, with many other countries. At that time, we calculate that by different domains, in addition to the net gain of population, the fecundity of women. If we say a woman could give birth in her childbearing age from 15 till 45, on average, we say in the 1960s, it was 6 children. 6. In many countries, but I'll just stress here on Tunisia, Iran, and Malaysia. We were exactly the same. But we started, as I said, in 1965, our family planning program. These 3 countries now have reached to the proper and ideal fecundity for women for just 2. But we are hanging between 2.6, 2.8, 3.1, 3.6. For the last...
What is the exact rate that we need to reach?
To reach 2. So
or
every
2.1.
2 is the optimal, 2.1, even 2.2. This means that if a man and a woman get married, they get 2 children, then they will have a stability of the population. Every 2 will get 2, every 2 will get 2. In Europe now, in Germany, in France, and UK, they are not achieving 2. They are much less.
Yes,
so the
indeed.
population is declining and they need immigrants. But in this country, because of the turbulence we have witnessed in the 2011, the population growth increased at a very rapid rate. We were 3.8 at a time, 3.6. Now we're coming down to 2.8, but we're still far away from the proper rate of 2, 2.1, 2.2. We hope that we can reach or achieve that by 2030 or 2040 or even 2050 if we carry on like that.
No, actually, you cannot wait until 2050 to reach that rate.
I'm just saying, if we,
Because
the projection model, if we carried on like that, we have increased 40 million in 23 years. In the year 2000, we were exactly 40 million less than we are today. We're 80 million. Now we are 105 million. So we have increased 20 million since the revolution and the year
25 million.
25
A country beside a country.
True. true. So we can carry on like this. This makes, as the president rightly said, pressure on the resources. And the formula is that if you increase by 2.5%, you need to achieve mid growth in economy by 3 folds. You need 6.57. And we will never reach that in these circumstances, in the era of the wars and this kind of thing.
Why? Why can't we reach that rate? I mean, here, what is the challenge we're speaking about? Is it the culture? Is it the type of life? Is it the standard of living? What exactly is here? Because I have noticed here that people with better standard living are getting lesser
Absolutely.
children, while people in lesser living standard are getting more. So what is this?
Yeah, it's all what you have said. It is the cultural, it is religious, it is socio-economic, it is educational. All these affect the proper growth of the population. As you rightly said, it is known that even in Egypt, taking Egypt into consideration, the poor governor rates are nearly double that of the more civilized governor rates in Egypt. In the same governorate, in the same category, the rich growth rate is less than half of that of the poor. So it seems that there is inverse relationship between the population growth, or the number of children a family has, and their educational, socio-economic development, as well as welfare of life. So it is a cocktail of everything. We don't really understand, but this is again everywhere. In Africa, the growth rate is rapid, but the death rate is also rapid. In Egypt, the growth rate is increasing, but the death rate is declining, and that makes Egypt unique in this category.
Let me hear Coach Youssa when you spoke about govern rates, and indeed we have here that Upper Egypt and border govern rates are the highest in birth rates. Most of the birth control campaigns focus on Cairo and Delta governed rates.
Absolutely,
why is it difficult to expand those campaigns across all the govern rates of the country?
Over the years we have tried hard, but we haven't, as exactly the president rightly said, we did not achieve the success. There is the availability of kind of thing. Let's speak about the methods of contraception. It should be available, and the acceptability of these methods of contraception in the community. We still have the traditional and religious belief that a big family is a good, is a support in some of these governorates. The other thing is women are afraid to go and ask for contraception, availability of the contraception, availability of the healthcare provider, and also the interest of the community. It's, as I said, when the government was not giving much interest to that, the population growth was rocketing. And when the government start again, and the organizations and health facilities and delivery of contraceptive methods and so on, so it is coming back. So it seems that the policies does work, but there are obstacles, and these obstacles are real, and we have to understand it and to tackle it. As you said, there is a role for the religious leaders. Many communities relied on the religious leaders, and we would say
on religious
backgrounds, there is definitely a religious background.
How about this is a very important point you're speaking about here, because here also the president spoke about the importance of working all together, including the scholars and the sheikhs and the religious people, that we have to really confront together such an issue. Religions, and that is a very, very important point, because yes, indeed, when you speak to anybody and ask him, why would you get more than one child, he said it's God's will.
True. It's one of the main obstacles, and we need to be open, and we would say there are experiences in the world we can learn from Iran. Iran started its program based on meeting with the religious leaders and giving the correct information. We don't say You don't need to have, but you need to calculate to give the number of children that suits your situation. If your income is £10, divide this by the number of children. So if you get 10 children, everyone will get £1. If you get 2, everyone will get £5. So it needs just a maturation understanding. Our Islamic scholars are much better than those who are Salafis and all this kind of thing, with full respect to everybody, but we are in a situation when the scholars and the highly educated are in one sector, but the real problem is undercovered because we are not successful so far with all these efforts to reach to the ground where in a village in Suhag or in Aswan, or full respect to everybody, they don't hear, I don't see anyone speaking about the value of better life quality, but indeed they see all the time people pushing forward to increase the number of the village. That is not the whole problem, because again, we're coming to socio-economic development. Are these communities mature enough? Are the services there? Are the number of physicians available? And in addition to that, the education. There is inverse relationship between the education standard of girls and the number of the family. So if we push, if we take active steps to try to prevent escape from schools, because they get out from school by the age of 14, 15, and they get married, they have they get pregnant by these ages, and at the age of 25, 30, you get a family of 5.
Can this really be amended by law? I mean, here, can the marriage age be amended by law, and can we do that?
The law is there. The law is there. It prohibits marriage before 18, but it never happens. I come from, I'm from Mansoura, and I know the villages. Some ladies said to me, and a girl coming pregnant at the age of 40, I said, how she got pregnant? She said, we just fabricated the documents and said she's 18. And by the age of 18, she has 2 or 3 children. And this happens all over Egypt. We need to come to the fact that the law is crystal clear. Even they don't allow them to register as married. They get together what's called something, as urfi or whatever. It's not a legal document, but they get married and they get the children. This is the fact. We need also to raise awareness about that. I'm speaking here as an obstetrician and gynecologist. The health hazards for these children who get pregnant is immense.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
that's another problem.
And that's the interaction between the population and the health. The girl getting married at the age of 14 or 15, she's still a child, and she gets another family, and that's it. She will get out of school, she will escape from school or cancel school altogether. So if we manage to postpone marriage till the age of 25, the population growth will come down. If we manage to reduce significantly the number of girls who escape, the number, and then the regulation. But as I said, the law alone is not sufficient. We need to get to the people, and so far, crystal clear saying we are not successful till this point to reach to the root causes of why we are not, our message is not going through.
Here we have to pinpoint our fingers on some important issues. I mean, here, campaigns.
Yeah.
Raising people awareness.
True.
Raising people awareness with the kind of problems, health problems, financial problems, economic problems, and all that. I mean, here, when we speak about health, we're speaking about how girls, as you said, respectively, here are getting married at very early age, which is a disaster for girls, because they might even get they can die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of their in physical competence here or ability. How many campaigns are we doing, and how more do we need? And would that need the collaboration of the civil society, the NGOs, health ministry, along with other institutions? What does it need?
Yeah, as we said before, it is a very complicated process, because There are a lot of things intervening here: socioeconomic development, culture, education, religion, traditional beliefs, and you need to get down to the bottom of the facts. You need to approach these people through campaigns, through civil people, through the very respectable sheikhs and Christian leaders as well. We need to get to this community, being closer to them, listen to them, meeting them. And instead of making all our meetings in Cairo and Alexandria or in big cities, we need to visit these to see the real situation. And as I said, we only see people who come over here to Cairo when they have a number of children, 6, 7, or 8. So we're not going there to the roots of the problem and speaking to them frankly. We are not saying we are going to control birth. We're not saying we are going to legalize abortion, to be crystal clear. We are not intervening with religion whatsoever, but we're saying we need to use contraception that makes a reasonable size of the family that matches with our capabilities. If I am rich and have 5 children, 6 children, it's not good, but okay. But if I am a daily worker, I don't have any income, so he gets children so they can work early, so escape. So it is the visual circle, as I said, it is repeating itself. Because this man who's getting married at the age of 15 or 16 is getting another girl, 14 or 15. By the age of 20, they have 2, 3 children. All of them are out of school, and they are increasing. In a very short time, the son and the daughter will repeat the same circle. So should we go to the roots of this vicious circle? Should we speak to the people? Should we move the civil society and all the NGOs, non-governmental organizations? Everybody can help. And believe me, the traditional governmental approach didn't work. We need a more civilized or a more easier approach to the people who can speak the same language.
Media campaigns.
Media campaigns. Again, media campaigns. But
media in its, of course, several tools. So we're not just speaking about media, the broadcast or television and radio. We're also speaking about social media and other tools.
I'm
right?
sorry to say, most of the media, what we say here, we are speaking English, we are speaking in Cairo, this message will not go through. Believe me, it needs some person who can speak to the people in the language they understand. I've seen some people saying, oh, these intellectuals, these are the people who don't like Islam and all this kind of things, which is not true. But these people can speak the same language because they find them beside them, they sit beside them, they speak the same language, they speak in a more complicated way. So how can make things clear and simple and approach these isolated categories, which only we see their product of their children coming to the urban area. But the root kind of things is based in the poor services in the isolated
villages and urban areas and
absolutely.
all this.
Rural areas mostly, yeah.
Yes.
True.
Yes, in few words, we need to train calibers from the same areas and whatsoever
Absolutely.
who speak the same language so they can really reach out to those people and convince them. Right.
I'm just strengthening here in Tunisia, as we said. Tunisia managed to go to every village. By people
Tunisia
they train.
Is very small.
It's very small. It's very small. But we are just fighting, as we said, in Iran, they achieved the religious leader. In Tunisia, they achieved the civil people who can go there and speak to the people in the tourist.
In their own language.
In their own language, yeah, true.
Yes, indeed. Before we continue on with our discussion, let me first here take the second report. In Egypt launched national strategy to curb overpopulation. Let's watch.
Yeah.
Minister of Health and Population Khalid Abdel launched the National Population and Development Strategy 2023-2030 at the Global Congress on Population, Health and Development, PHDC 2023 on Tuesday. The national strategy aims to achieve a balance between population growth and development by promoting reproductive health, empowering women, investing in youth, improving educational opportunities, and raising awareness of population issues. According to Abdel, the strategy encompasses 7 pillars, which are ensuring reproductive rights, investing in human capital, empowering women, education and learning, as well as communication and media for development, climate change and population dynamics, and governance of the population file. He added, the strategy aligns with Egypt's 2030 Sustainable Development Vision and the National Project for the Development of the Egyptian Family, MPDEF. The MPDEF was launched in March last year to address the population issue, and it is a wide-ranging development scheme that goes beyond family planning and health care. The first edition of the PHDC is being held at the new administrative capital, NAC, through Friday. The Congress, which was inaugurated by President Abdel al-Sisi, aims to highlight the dynamic interrelation between population, health, and sustainable development. Abdel emphasized that the population issue that Egypt faces is the biggest challenge confronting national efforts in the present and future, as it hinders economic growth and the quality of life for citizens. Egypt, currently the 14th most populous country worldwide, has a population of more than 105 million, an increase of more than 1.5 million citizens from last year. Earlier in February, head of Egypt's National Population Council, the MPC, Tariq Tawfiq, said the country's population is expected to reach 142 to 157 million by the year 2050. In March this year, Egypt announced plans under MPDEF to provide an annual incentive of 1,000 Egyptian pounds to married women with no more than 2 children. Also in March, the Osra, or Family Initiative, was launched to provide young Egyptians with information on voluntary family planning and reproductive health options for healthy and sustainable child spacing. In 2020, the government launched Itnin Kifaya, or 2 are enough campaign, which offered financial assistance to those who succeed in family planning. The health minister presented indicators measuring the results and impact of past efforts to address the population and development issue. The total fertility rate in 2021 was 2.85%, and it declined to 2.1% in 2023. Meanwhile, the usage of family planning methods went from 66.4% in 2021 to 75% in 2023. The illiteracy rate among people aged 10 and above declined from 25.8% in 2021 to 12.6% in 2023. Educational enrollment increased from 94% in 2021 to 98% in 2023. Youth unemployment rate decreased from 16.5% in 2021 to 12% in 2023. The percentage of children in the labor market decreased from 4.9% in 2021 to 2% in 2023. The percentage of child marriages decreased from 15.8% in 2021 to 8% in 2023.
Right, welcome back, and back to you, Dr. Saeed. And these were the exact figures of the features of the new national strategy Yes, of the new national of our new national strategy for 2030.
Yeah.
Those are the exact numbers
Yeah.
and figures.
They are true. Yeah.
Here we have to speak about another very important issue,
Yeah.
the health sector.
Yeah.
But this is not so good enough because, yes, we're speaking about a kind of remarkable improvement in the health sector.
Yeah.
But it's not good for, for in this condition. I mean, here, hopefully everybody would be okay and fine and with good health. But the decline in death rates has also reflected on the population growth.
Yes.
So how do you view that?
As I said, people or each country in its development passes through these three phases. We are now in phase 2, where the population growth is remarkable, but the death rate is not. We need to move to the developed nation where we get stable. The only way is to cut short the number of children, childbirth. That's it. There's no other way. And all the statistics mentioned are correct. By the way, this strategic planning for the Ministry of Health was launched in the year 2017, but we came after 6 years to say, yeah, we need to, there are very good things done. Really, there have been very good things done, but also there are not very good things that we need to correct, which is published already in the strategy for this year till the remaining 7 years or so. So we are all physicians working for the good health of the community. That's true, absolutely. We are happy that is happening. But the other sector is that we need to be happy as well by the reduction of the birth rate. It is achievable because, as I said, when there is concentration in the issue, the population growth comes down in the last 5-6 years. If we carried on at this rates of between 2011, 2012, and 2013, we would reach 150 million by the year 2030, as they say. So we know that when the campaigns and the money and the strategy and people are focused to approach it, it's achieving success. But we need to be focused all the time. As the President has said, the Egyptian Family Planning Authority is now headed by the Prime Minister. That's absolutely fine. It is not the duty of the Minister of Health. As I said, we used to say development is the best contraception. We need to get people educated, as the strategy has said. We need to get people educated till a certain level. We get to avoid child marriage. We need to improve the income, socioeconomic and cultural standards. We need to speak to all these should come together. As I said, it is never a one ministry or a one-man duty. It is the duty of everybody.
Definitely, there is nothing called a one-man show.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we need to come together. And as I said, for example, the religious sector plays a very important role, but the education sector plays. The development as the incentives for people who keep empowerment of women. Because as I said, and as we know that men want a larger number of children, but women who resist. And in our job in obstetrics and gynecology, we know that there are many pregnancies that are unwanted for women, but they carry on. There are many pregnancies that women want to terminate, but by law, and I also come back to the fact that we do not recommend termination of pregnancy for non-medical reasons. Nobody is going to enforce the community for that, but it's all an integrated effort that everybody should do.
Yes. My last question here, and I have only 1 minute left for me.
Yeah, okay.
What is the message that we need to get out of this Congress to the whole world, and exactly what are we expecting of recommendations? Just in 1 minute, please.
Yeah, the recommendations are coming tomorrow, the last day of the Congress. The image of Egypt and its holding for this summit is that we're speaking to the whole community, international community, I mean, which share the same problems facing everybody, and we are up to our obligations. We are going to tackle these problems, and I'm sure with all the integrated effort and the support from the President and down, everybody should be integrated in this mission trying to control our birth and overpopulation.
Indeed, indeed. It has to be a very integral plan.
Thank you.
Professor Dr. Saeed Mohamed Abdel Hady, Dean of the Mansoura University, thank you so much for being with us and for your input tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Our pleasure. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching. I guess that next Sunday would be the next debate. Many thanks for watching and good night.